Okay. So in the last session, we have taken the problem on vertical tapered bar, which is applied with the axial load. Now, in this lecture, we will take the problem, okay, in the structural field. We are going to continue with the same field, okay. So we are going to take the problem on structural field, where we have bar under axial load, but where we have a bar under axial load, but with thermal effect, with yes with thermal effect. Okay, so we will take the problem on in the structural field where we have a bar under axial load with the thermal effect. So let's take this problem. Okay, let's take this problem. Okay, so we have this problem. We have, okay, a stepped bar which is fixed at the leftmost end. Okay, so I'll just draw that first bar. Okay, so this is one bar. This is a bar. What is the problem?
सर नहीं दिख रहा है, कुछ पेपर नीचे करो ना सर.
I think the screen is visible totally.
सर आप ऊपर पेपर रखो, नीचे करो ना पेपर.
See, I need to cover an entire thing within the problem, na? That entire thing has to, the solution has to be fit within the screen. That is the reason why I'm starting from extreme top. If you want, you just zoom it out on your screen. Not a problem. You just zoom it that on your screen. Right? Okay. So we have this tapered bar. We have this tapered bar of length. We have this tapered bar of length 100 mm. We have this tapered bar of length 100 mm, and which is having cross section area of 1000 mm square, which is having the cross section area of 1000 mm square, which is made up of a material with value of E as 210 gigapascal, value of E as 210 gigapascal, and value of alpha as 12 into 10 raised to power minus 6, okay, per degree Celsius. So this is a stepped bar which is of cross section 1000 mm square, of length 100 mm, and which is made up of a material with these properties. Okay, to this particular tapered bar, sorry, horizontal bar, okay, we have one more bar which is attached. Okay, so let's consider this bar which is attached to it. Okay, so this is a bar which is attached to it. One more bar, okay, which is of 80 mm. Okay, the length of the bar, it is 80 mm, and which is having cross section area A is equal to 500 mm square. Okay, area is equal to 500 mm square, and this bar, it is made up of a material with value of E as 100 gigapascal and value of alpha as 20 into 10 raised to power minus 6 per degree Celsius, right? So this is one more bar. To this particular bar, okay, we have one more bar which is attached. Okay, let's consider this bar which is attached to it, okay, and this end of the bar, it is attached to fixed support. This is attached to fixed support, right? This has been attached to fixed support. This bar, it is of length 60 mm. Okay, this bar, it is of a length 60 mm. It is having cross section area of 300 mm square, okay, and value, this bar, it is made up of a material with value of E as a 75 gigapascal, and with the value of alpha as a 24 into 10 raised to power minus 6 per degree Celsius. So this is the bar. Okay, So for to this particular bar, what they have done, they applied some load. Okay, here they applied some load here, and that load it is 49 kilonewton. They applied 49 kilonewton here. Okay, and they have applied 20 kilonewton here, right? They applied the 20 kilonewton here, right? So now they're asking to analyze this problem completely. Okay, they're asking to analyze completely. Okay, so when this is the word which is written, analyze completely, our final aim is to calculate the value of stress. That is the only meaning what this sentence dictates, right? Analyze completely means we need to calculate the value of stress. So this is a final value in which we are interested, right? So now see, in order to start, let me clear you. This problem we have already taken during practical session. Okay, in the yesterday session only. So that problem we are solved in ANSYS. Now same problem we are solving analytically. Okay, so purpose is to compare both the answers. Okay, so when you are both the answers are coming to be same, that means whatever the method you have followed, it's correct, right? So now to start with the solution of the problem. Okay, let me start with the solution of the problem. To start with the solution of the problem, okay, so very basic step is the discretization. What is the very basic step? Is the discretization. So discretization, it is a process of dividing the entire domain into number of subdomains. So there are certain criteria for discretization. Okay, so first criteria is change in cross section. So you can see here cross section is different, here it is different, here is different, right? So based on that criteria, okay, what I will do, I will form these as one element. This is my one element. Okay, this is as one more element. Okay, this is one more element, and this as one more element, right? This is one more element. Okay, try to understand. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, based on change in cross section, we are getting three elements. This is one element, this is one element, this is one element. Because for every bar, we have different cross section. Okay, now move to the next criteria. Change in material. You can see this is different material, this is different material, this is different material. So I should get this as a different element, this as a different element, and this again as a different element. And what is happening here? The elements which you are getting, considering the criteria of change in cross section, they are same as the elements which you are getting, considering the criteria of change in material, right? So we are getting three elements based on change in cross section or based on change in material. So these are the three elements. We will move to the next criteria. That is point where they applied the load. At that point, you form the node. Okay, so this is the point where they applied the load. Okay, and if you bring this point down, this is the node which you already got, which you already have. Okay, similarly, this is the point where they applied the force. So I'll just bring this point down. So I'm getting the node which is already there. Okay, so what I will do is, see, this is basically my element number one, right? This is your element number one. This is your element number two, right? And this is element number three, right? This is element number three. Element number one, element number two, and element number three, right? Now let's number. Okay, now let's number the nodes, right? So this is basically node one. This is your node two. This is your node three, and this is your node four, right? Node one, node two, node three, and node four. So we are having these as nodes, right? We are having three elements, we are having four nodes, right? Now see, now we have discretized it. We got the elements, we got the nodes, right? Now see, the problem belongs to structural field, which is basically bar under axial load. So see, if bar under axial load, okay, so if I write down the value of element matrix equation, EME, okay, so element matrix equation for bar under axial load, is given by, okay, what is the element matrix equation for bar under axial load? It is given by AE by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, okay, into displacement U1 U2 is given by force F1 F2, right? Is given by force F1 F2. So this is the element matrix equation when we have bar under axial load. So this is the element matrix equation where this particular term, it is called as element stiffness matrix. When you multiply it by displacement, it will give rise to force, right? It will give rise to force. This equation, it is valid only for a single element. Okay, so if you talk about element number 1, it is U1, U2. If you need to write down this equation for element number 2, here it is U2, U3, F2, F3. If you need to write down for element number 3, it is U3, U4, F3, F4, like that, right? So this is the element matrix equation. Okay. Now see, before applying the element matrix equation, just let's check it. Okay. Let us check. Okay. Let us check about the units. Let's check about the units. Okay. We need to first check about the units. Okay. And let's do that. Okay. So see, let's start with the area. Okay. Area. Okay. Let's start with the unit area. Okay. So area has to be area. Area is in mm square. So there is no problem. Area is in mm square, right? Now E, modulus of elasticity. Modulus of elasticity, you can check it. This is in gigapascal. Gigapascal. Okay. L, length. You can check it. Length. Every length is in mm. Okay. A is in mm square. E is in gigapascal. Length is in mm. Okay. Length is in mm. Similarly, if you talk about the forces, okay, forces, they are in kilonewton. Okay, they are in kilonewton. Okay, so if this is the case, then no unit conversion is required. Try to understand, because the meaning of gigapascal itself is an kilonewton per mm square. What is the meaning of gigapascal? Itself is a kilonewton per mm square. So you can check, this is in mm square, this is in mm, and this is in kilonewton, right? So if this is the case, we doesn't require any unit conversion. Okay, so I will write down no unit conversion required. Okay, because everything is found to be uniform. Okay, so there is no unit conversion required. So now let's start. Okay, let's start with the element matrix equation for element number 1. Okay, so I will write down here stiffness matrix for element number 1. Stiffness matrix for element number 1. We will start for element number 1. For element number 1, area is 1000 into E. E is 210. Okay, AE by L, length of element number 1 is 100. Okay, and this is to be multiplied by 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Okay, so just calculate this and let me know how much you're getting. Do it fast.
2100.
2100. Okay, is that okay? 2100 minus 2100 minus 2100, and this is 2100. Okay, try to understand. See, this term is coming to be 2100. So you just multiply it inside a matrices. Okay, so you'll get these matrices. Now if you talk about element number 1, it is between node 1 and 2. Okay, so you just give the numbers like that, 1 to 1, right? Now let's do for stiffness matrix of element number 2. Stiffness matrix of element number 2. Okay, so for that we require area of element number 2. It's 500. Okay, into E of element number 2. Okay, E of element number 2. Okay, and that is basically 100. Okay, 100. E by length of element number 2. Length of element number 2, it's 80. Okay, into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Okay, so just check how much we're getting. This is 500 when you multiply it by 100 divided by 80. So just let me know this value. What value you are getting? How much you are getting, all of you? What value we are getting? 500 into 100 by 80. Can you check? Okay. So each of you should do the calculation. So this is coming as 625. This is minus 625, minus 625, and plus 625. Right? It is coming as 625. You just multiply inside a bracket. Okay. Now, if you talk about element number two, this is between 2 and 3. Okay. So this is 2, 3, and this is again 2, 3. This is 2, 3, 2, 3. Right? Now let's go for a stiffness matrix. Yes, stiffness matrix of element number 3. Let's go for that. Stiffness matrix of element number 3. Okay. For that, you require area. Area is 300 into its modulus of elasticity, that is 75, divided by length, it's a 60. It is to be multiplied by 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, right? And just get the answer. What you are getting? Just let me know what answer you are getting. Right? How much you are getting? This answer?
$375.
620. How much? 375.
$375.
Okay. So this is 375. This is minus 375. This is minus 375. And this is 375, right? This is 375. Okay. And if you see this element number 3, it is between 3, 4. So you just write down that 3, 4, 3, 4. Right? Now see, in addition to these forces which are applied, okay, there is rise of, okay, 20 degrees Celsius. There is a rise of 20 degrees Celsius rise. Okay, this is a given data which is additional. Okay, see, in addition to these forces which is applied, okay, there is a rise of 20 degrees Celsius temperature. Okay, that is the reason only why we can consider the thermal effect, right? So these forces are there. Okay, but similarly, during this process, there is a rise of 20 degrees Celsius, which we are supposed to consider, right? Now, see, these are the element stiffness matrices. What we have. Okay. Now, see, once we have element stiffness matrices, we will go for the calculation of global stiffness matrix, right? So for that, we should know what is the size of the global stiffness matrix, right? We should know what is the size of global stiffness matrix, right? So in order to determine the size of the global stiffness matrix, okay, so size of the global stiffness matrix will be governed by how many number of nodes you have, okay, multiplied by, okay, how many degrees of freedom you have per node. Okay, so I'll write down degrees of freedom per node. Okay, so see, if we just see this problem, okay, we have these 4 nodes, right? We have 4 nodes. Okay, we have the 4 node, and we have applied the force only in x direction, right? So each node will move only in x direction. Okay, so that is a single direction. Okay, so that means it is 4. Okay, so size of the global stiffness matrix will be 4 by 4. Okay, so 4 into 1 is 4. That's why the size of the global stiffness matrix will be 4 by 4. So let's now okay, combine these element stiffness matrices so as to get a global stiffness matrices. Okay, so let's do that. So I will write down here 1. Okay, this is 2. This is 3. This is 4. Okay, so we have 4 nodes. Write down here 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. Right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'll just mark the rows and columns. I will just mark the rows and columns. Okay. So these are the rows and these are the columns, right? So let's see that. Now, what is our intention? Okay, we need to just pick every matrices and place it in a global stiffness matrices. So let's start doing that for element number 1. So for element number 1, matrix, it is starting with first row, first column. So at first row, first column, I need to put this value. Okay, that is 2100. I will put just side of that. It is minus 2100. Okay, here it is minus 2100, and here it is 2100. Okay, so that is the value which I will write down. Okay, so values I have written. So this has been done for stiffness matrix of element number 1. Now let's do for this one stiffness matrix of element number 2. Okay, and it is starting from 2 2. So at 2 2 you write down 625. Okay, so at 2 2, okay, you write down 625. So see, this is 2 and this is 2. Okay, so I should write down here plus 625 minus 625 minus 625, and here again plus 625, right? So this is what is written. Next, we need to do for stiffness matrix of element number 3. So this is a matrices which is starting at 3 3, where we have 375. Okay, so that I'll do. This is 3, this is 3. Okay, see, this is 3, this is 3. So I should write down here plus 375. Here it is minus 375. Here it is again minus 375, and here again 375, right? So now you see where you're getting blank terms, okay, or where the cells we have blank, okay, and at those locations we need to put their value, okay, as 0. So I'll put their value as 0. Okay, so I'll put these values as 0. So this is our global stiffness matrix which we have got, right? Now see, now very important term which basically or what you can say, which basically dictates that this problem it is different from all other problems. Okay, so the reason behind that is, okay, they have given that there is a rise of 20 degrees Celsius temperature. Okay, and also they have mentioned the value of alpha. See, if they have not mentioned the value of delta T and alpha, we can proceed with the what we have done for previous problems. Okay, but here what they have given, they have mentioned one additional material property, that is alpha, and similarly they have mentioned that there is a rise of 20 degrees Celsius during this process, right? Now see, if you see these load, these are the point loads, right? Now in addition to these point loads, obviously thermal loads will be developed, and those thermal load or thermal forces will be developed as a result of rise of temperature, right? So here we need to first calculate what are the forces or what are the loads which are developed at the nodes of the element due to rise in the temperature. Okay, what are the force that are generated at every node of the element due to rise in the temperature? Okay, so see, in order to do that, okay, let's start with element number 1. So I will start with the element number 1. Okay, so see, if you talk about element number 1, so there are two nodes for the element number 1 and 2. Okay, so there will be two forces which are generated at node 1, element number 1. That is, these forces are F1 and F, right? So if I need to determine what are the forces that are developed at element number 1, okay, which is between node 1 and 2. Okay, see, this element number 1, this is between node 1 and 2. So I'm calculating the forces which are developed at the node 1 and at the node 2 of element number 1 due to thermal effect. Okay, so how to calculate that? Okay, so it is given by modulus of elasticity of element number 1 into area of element number 1. Try to understand, into area of element number 1 into alpha of element number 1, okay, multiplied by delta T, okay, and this is to be multiplied by minus 1 1. Try to understand. See, this is how you're going to calculate the forces or loads which are generated due to thermal load. Okay, due to thermal load. So how to calculate? So see, forces developed at the node 1 and at the node 2 of element number 1 due to rise in the temperature is given by Okay, modulus of velocity multiplied by area multiplied by alpha multiplied by delta t, and this is to be multiplied by -1 1. So what you will get? You will get one column. Okay, you will get one column. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. See, e of element number 1. Okay, just e of element number 1. It is 210, right? This is 210 into area of element number 1. This is, see, the area of element number 1, it's 1000, right? This is 1000 into alpha of element number 1. Alpha of element number 1, 12 into 10 raised to power -6. 12 into 10 raised to power -6 alpha into delta t. Delta t, okay, as we have 20 degrees Celsius rise in the temperature. So I'll write down that 20, right? 20 into -1 1 into -1 1. Okay, so just calculate this value. Just calculate this value. Okay, so just calculate this value and just let me know how much we're getting. Okay? Just calculate this value. How much it is coming? All of you just do the, oh, I suppose, see, I expect all of you to do just the calculations. Okay, so how much it is coming?
1 minute, sir.
$50.4.
How much?
50.4.
50.4. All of you just check that value. Is it okay with that value? I'm writing that value. Huh? How much you are getting? 50.4. Is it a correct value? This multiplication? All of you? All of you, is it okay? 50.4. This is minus 50.4 and this is 50.4. Okay. Now see, we are writing that, okay, we have only one column. See, you can see this. We have only one columns. Okay. And we are writing this for node 1 and node 2. We are writing this for node 1 and node 2. Okay. So all of you just check this value. Huh? All of you just check this value. Right. Now let's do this. Okay, for element number 2. Okay, now see, element number 2, just check with the diagram. Element number 2, it is between 2 and 3. Okay, so I will write down here F2 and F3 because it is between 2 and 3. Okay, element number 2, it is between 2 and 3. Right? It is between 2 and 3. So see, element number 2, it is between 2 and 3. So I need to write down it's E2. Okay, it's modulus of elasticity, its area, its alpha into,
Sir, 50.4 ही है वो.
yeah, okay, good, into -1 1 into -1 1, right? Now let's do it for element number 2. Okay, so see, the forces induced due to 20 degrees Celsius rise in the temperature, okay, at the node 2 and at node 3 of element number 2 are given by this. Okay, so let's put the values. E2, we need to write down the modulus of elasticity of element number 2. Okay, so what is the value of modulus of elasticity of element number 2? Just check. 100, right? It's 100 into area of element number 2. Just check that. What is the area? 500. This is 500 into alpha of element number 2. Just check. 20 into 10 raised to power -6 E A alpha into delta T, rise in the temperature or change in the temperature, that is 20. Okay, into -1 1 into -1 1. Okay, so just check how much we are getting. Just let me know the answer. Okay, just do the calculation and let me know the answer. Do the calculations, all of you.
20.
20 you're getting?
Yes, sir.
I will write down minus 20 and this is plus 20. Okay, now here this is important. Huh? We have single. Is it okay? 20 is okay, correct?
Yes, yes, sir. 20.
Okay. So see, when you multiply this 20 to this matrices, you will get minus 20 and 20 here, right? Now see, this is very important. We have only single column. We have single column, but numbering of the rows will depends upon, okay, the nodes of the element. Okay, so this is between node 2 and 3. So that is
Two,
only I'm
three.
writing 2, 3, right? Now let's do the third thing. Okay, stiffness or forces induced at node 3 and at node 4 of element number 3 okay, are given by E3, A3, alpha 3, delta T into minus 1, 1 into minus 1, 1, right? So let's do that calculation. Okay, see, no element number 3, it is between node 3 and 4. So everything of element number 3 here you are supposed to write down. So E3, I need to write down modulus of elasticity of element number 3. Just check that, 75, right? 75 into its area. I'll just see here, 300. Right? This is 300 into its alpha 24 into 10 raised to power minus 6 into delta T, it's 20 degrees Celsius into minus 1, 1 into minus 1, 1. Okay, so just check this value.
$10.8.
Is it okay, all of you?
10.8.
Okay, all of you just check. Any one of you can check.
Yes, sir.
So I'll write down minus 10.8 and 10 point, right? Okay, now again, as I told you, okay, we have single column because what is that column? It's a force column. So we have single column, but numbering of the rows will depends upon the nodes of that particular element. So this is to be written as 3, 4. This is 3, right? Now see, now this is very important. Now just see here. These forces are induced due to rise in the temperature within the element number 1, right? These forces are induced due to rise in the temperature in element number 2, and these are the forces which are induced due to rise in the temperature in element number 2. Okay, but you can see here, okay, node 2 of element number 1 and node 2 of element number 2, it's shared. You can see node 2, it is shared between element number 1 and element number 2. Node 3 is also see, node 2, it is common for element number 1 and element number 2. Similarly, node 3 is common for element number 2 and element number 3, right? So on node number 2, there will be the effect of element 1 and element number 2. Similarly, on node 3, there will be the effect of element number 2 and element number 3, right? Is that okay? So that combined effect we need to take care. You can see here you are getting F2, here also you are getting F2. Here you are getting F3, here also we are getting F3. So that combined effect we need to consider. And that is the reason why, okay, we need to write down a single force column. Okay, we need to write down a single force column. Okay, we need to write down a single force column. So which will account all the forces. Okay, so I'll just write down that force column. That force column is F1, F2, F3, and F4. So this is the force column. So in the force column, what I should write down is, just check it. Huh? Okay, just check it. We have just only single force column. Okay, so what is the value of F1 and F2? Just check it. Okay, I'll just write down that value. F1 and F2. What is the value of F1 F2? Here it minus 50.4, 50.4. So this is minus 50.4 and 50.4, right? That is only written. Huh? F1 F2. F1 F2. What is that? Minus 50.4, minus 50.4. Now come back to this. What is F2 F3? It is minus 20 plus 20. Try to understand. Huh? See, what is F2? F2 here is minus 20 and F3 is 20. So see here, F2, I need to write down this as a minus 20. Okay. And here I need to write down F2 as 20. Try to understand. See, minus 20, 20, minus 20, 20. Similarly, what is F3, F4? Minus 10.8, 10.8. So this is F3, right? So this is minus 10.8 and 10.8. Is that okay, all of you? Are you okay with what is written? This is of element number 1. This is of element number 2. This is of element number 3. You can see this is common. Okay, this will give you the combined effect at node 2 due to element number 1 and element number 2. This term will give you the combined effect at node number 3 due to node 2 and due to element number 2 and element number 3. See, I will repeat. This term will give you the combined effect at node 2 due to element number 1 and element number 2. This term will give you the combined effect at node 3 due to element number 2 and element number 3. Is that okay now? Is that okay, all of you?
No, sir.
Is that okay or not?
No, sir. No.
See, all of you just see. See, let's do like this. This is okay. Otherwise, let's do it like this. See, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Let's do that. Not a problem. Is that okay now? At 1, 2, what I should put at 1, 2? Minus 50.4, 50.4, minus 50.4, 50.4. Now, at 2, 3, what I should put? Minus 20 plus 20. See, this is minus 20 plus 20, right? At 3, 4, what I should put? Minus 10.8, 10.8, minus 10.8, 10.8. Is that okay now?
Yes, sir.
Right? No, let's okay. Let's take do this addition. Minus 50.4. Just tell me this value. How much? 50.4 minus 20. Just tell me that value fast. How much it is?
30.4. 30.4.
30.4. Now tell me this value. 20 minus 10.8.
9.2.
9.2. And this is 10.8. Right? This is 10.8. So that is what is written, right? So see, this is you are having single column, but you have 4 rows. Okay, you have 4 rows, right? Now we have this force matrices. Now see, try to understand. We have already formed the global matrices. This is a global matrix, right? Now this is the thing where we need to combine everything, right? This is the thing where we need to combine everything. So now I will start combining. Okay. So I will write down now. I will just write down now. Okay. So global matrix equation. Okay. Global matrix equation. Global matrix equation. Global matrix equation is given by. Okay. What is your global matrix equation? It is basically the global stiffness matrix. We need to multiply it by displacement is d1 by force. That is our global matrix equation, right? Now, just a time before we have written this global stiffness matrix, right? Global stiffness matrix. Okay, so just I need to copy that matrices as it is. Okay, so I will just copy that matrices as it is here. So this is a global stiffness matrices. I will write down now here. See, this is 2100. Okay, minus 2100. This is 0. This is 0. Then here I have minus 2100. Just tell me that 2725. Right? This is 2725. This is minus 625. This is 0. Right? Then this is 0 minus 625. Now this is 625 plus 375. Okay, it is 1000. Right? This is 1000. 1000. This is minus 375, right? Next, this is 0, this is 0, this is minus 375, and this is plus 375, right? Okay, so this is what our global stiffness matrix is, right? Which we already calculated. This is to be multiplied by displacements, and those displacements are u1, u2, u3, u4, because we have 4 nodes. Each node will have displacement. Okay, is equal to forces, and the forces are F1, F2, F3, and F4. Listen, F1, F2, F3, F4. These are the point loads. Try to understand. These are the forces which are applied at the nodes. But in addition to these forces which are applied at the nodes, okay, just now we have calculated the forces which are induced due to thermal load. So these are the forces which are induced due to thermal load. Okay, and we need to write down those forces, right? And we are supposed to write down those forces here. Okay, so I will just write down these forces here. Okay, so this force I will write down. See here again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So same 1, 2, 3, 4. I will just write down those values. Okay, so this is minus 50.4. Okay, this plus 30.4. Then this is 9.2. Okay, and this is 10.8, and this is 10.8. Okay, this is 10.8. I just combined. These are the point loads. These are the thermal loads. Okay, that is what you get from the this equation, right? Now see this. Now this equation we have. We are supposed to solve this equation. Now tell me how to solve this equation. All of you I'll just bring this diagram. I'll just bring this diagram in front of you. Okay. Now let me know. Okay. Now I'm interested to solve this equation. Okay, how I should solve the equation? Okay, how to solve this equation? Can anybody let me know? Do it fast. Let me know how to solve this equation. Just see in the diagram and just check whether anything we have yet not used. Anything that we have yet not used. Is there anything that we have yet not used? Can you check? See,
Yes,
whenever you
sir.
come to such equation, we need to reduce the equation. We need to reduce the equation, or we need to simplify the equation. And for that, you try to impose the boundary condition. You can see at node 1 and at node 4, that is at the extreme left hand and at the extreme right hand side, the nodes are fixed. Okay, that means displacement at node 1 is 0.
U1
Similarly,
will be 0.
and U4 will be 0. Okay, because at the node 1 and at the node 4, okay, node 1 and node 4, they are connected to fixed support. That means their displacement is 0. They can't move in any direction. Okay, so what we will do is, okay, I will just see this U1 is 0. That's why I will just simply cancel first row and first column, right? U4 is 0. I will simply cancel fourth row and fourth column, right? First row, first column, fourth row and fourth column. It will be get cancelled. Okay, will be get cancelled, right? So now see, we are interested to calculate the value of U2 and U3. We want the value of U2 and U3. And for calculating U2 and U3, we are having these two simultaneous equations. Okay, for calculating U2 and U3, we have these two simultaneous equations,
Yes,
provided we should enter the value of F2 and F3. Okay, so if you go to the diagram, what is the force applied at node 2? That is nothing but F2, right? Force applied at node 2, that is nothing but F2. So F2, value of F2 is 49 kilonewton. Okay, so here only we will mention. Here only we will mention that value. Okay, so I will just mention that value. F2 is equal to 49. Okay, 49. F2 is equal to 49. Similarly, what is the value of F3? Force applied at node 3, it is 20, but it is going towards left hand side. So I will take it as minus. F3, I will take it as minus 20. I will take, right? Because this is right hand side, I will take it as a positive. This is going towards left hand side, I have taken as a negative, right? Now, can you solve this equation, all of you? Can you solve this two simultaneous equation, all of you? Can you solve it or not? See how you will put this is A1, this is B1, and this plus this, it is your C1, right? Similarly, this is A2, this is B2, and this plus this, it is your C2. Okay, so all of you just solve it. Okay, otherwise what I'll do, I'll just explain you how to solve it. Okay, so for that, just go to your calculator. Just go to calculator. Okay, you you just go to mode, right? And just select the solve the system equations with two unknown, system equations two unknown. Okay, just go to that. Okay, so as I told you, this is 2725, right? Then the side of that, it is minus 625. Okay, then side of that, the 49 plus 30.4. Okay, then here we have minus 625. Then we have it here 1000. Okay, and here we have minus 20 plus 9.2. Okay, minus 20 plus 9.2. So this we entered, and now we will solve it. Okay, so this is the value which you have got for U2. U2 it is coming as 0.0311 mm. Okay, and U3 it is coming as 0.0086 mm. Okay, so these are the values which we have got, right? So I'll just come back to the solution again. So these are the values we have got, right? Now how to check our answers are correct? For that, we need to calculate the reactions which are generated. So those reactions are F1 and F4. Why F1 and F4 are reaction? Because at node 1, displacement is 0. So the point where displacement is 0, at that point you're getting reactions. So in order to calculate the value of F1, just multiply first row, first column. Okay. So first row, first column. So this into this is 0, right? Then minus 2100, 2100 into U2. I will write up minus 2100 into U2. Then 0 into U3 is 0. 0 into U4 is 0. Is equal to F1 minus 50.4. F1 minus 50.4. See, first row, first column, F1 minus 15.4. Okay, so just put this value. You just put the value what you got. Minus 2100 into U2, you got it as 0.0311. Okay, 0.0311.
सर सर ये लाइन नहीं समझी.
This line, see, first
हाँ
row
सर.
and this column, right? First row multiplied by this column. Just check it. This has been already explained. First row, this column. So this into this is 0. This into this is what is written. This into this is again 0. This into this is 0. Is equal to first, right? Is equal to this one. Is that okay now?
Yes sir.
Okay, so the is equal to this value, right? So just calculate the value of F1. What you are getting? So from this, calculate the value of F1. Okay, so let's do the calculation for that. Go to calculator. Okay, I just go to basic mathematics equation. Okay, and when you now you are supposed to do the calculation, so do that fastly. Okay, so I will just do that. Okay, so what I will do is I will do like 50.4. Okay, when you bring that 50.4 on the left hand side, it becomes plus 50.4 minus 2100 into 0.0311. So I'm getting that as minus 14.91. Minus 14.91 kilonewton. This is the value of F1 I got. This is the value of F1 I got, right? Now let's do that for F4. F4, how will you get F4? Last row multiply by this column, right? So this into this is 0. Again, this 0 into U2 is 0. Then this is remaining minus 375 into U3. That I will write down. Minus 375 U3. See, minus 375 U3. Again, this into this is 0. Is equal to F4 plus 10.8. F4 plus 10.8. Okay, try to it. F4 plus 10.8. See, this row multiplied by this column is equal to F4 plus 10.8. So apply. Now put the value. So minus 375 into U3 is 0.0086 is equal to F4 plus 10.8 is equal to F4 plus 10.8. So from that you calculate the value of F4. Just calculate the value of F4. Okay. So just see how much we're getting F4. Okay. So do the calculation. Okay. So this you will get it as minus 375 into 0.0086 minus 10.8 minus 10.8 minus 10.8. So you'll get it this as minus 14 point. How much we're getting? Minus 14.02 kilonewton, minus 14.02. Is that okay? Okay. Now, so these are the forces which we have got, or these are basically the reactions. Okay. Now check the answers. Okay. You just take the summation of the forces. Okay, in x direction, summation of the forces in x direction. So just add these terms. F1 minus 50.4. Okay, see this entire term. This plus this plus this plus this plus F2 plus 30.4 plus F3 plus 9.2 plus F4 plus 10.8. So just take the addition of these all these forces. Okay. So just put the values. Okay. So when you put these values here, okay, I will do that. F1. What is F1? F1 we have calculated as minus 14.91. So this is F1. Okay. Minus 50.4 minus 15.4 plus F2. F2 we have entered as 49 plus 30.4 plus F3. F3 we have entered as minus 20. Okay. Plus 9.2 plus F4. F4 we got it as minus 14.02 plus 10.8. Okay. So you can see what answer we are getting. We're getting as 0.07. Try to understand. Summation of the forces we are getting as 0.07. Okay, that means it is approximately equal to 0. Okay, try to understand. Summation of the forces we are getting as 0.07. Okay, and that is approximately equal to 0. Okay, now why this 0.07 error is occurring? Okay, so more the digits you take it after decimal point, okay, the more chances that your condition of equilibrium will be satisfied. Okay, so more the decimal point you take after, more the digits you take after the decimal point, okay, your condition of equilibrium will be satisfied closely, right? So this is the reason. That means our displacements are correct, right? Now what is the next step? The next step will be to calculate the value of stresses. Okay, so for calculating the stresses we have a simple formula. Okay, so stress induced, okay, I will just brief you about the formula. Stress induced, okay, stress induced in element number 1, stress induced in element number 1, okay, is given by modulus of elasticity of element number 1, as you know, into strain. How will you calculate strain? It is change in length upon original length, right? So for element number 1, it is between node 1 and 2. So you will calculate displacement at node 2 minus displacement at node 1 upon its length, it's L1. Okay, so this will give you the, okay, stress. Okay, this will give you the stress only due to the point load. Okay, but we have again the thermal load. So for that we need to subtract the thermal stresses, and these are E1, alpha 1 and delta T. Try to understand. See, this stress, it is due to this stress. This stress, we need to calculate the stress induced in element number 1, and this is again a stress, but this stress, it is due to point loads, and this stress, it is due to thermal loads. Okay, so we on element number 1 there is a combined effect of axial loads as well as thermal loads. So this term is and this term will take care of thermal load. Okay, similarly, okay, we will calculate stress induced in element number 2 as, okay, E2 Okay, because we are interested to calculate for element number 2. So we should write down modulus of elasticity of element number 2. Now element number 2, it is between 2 and 3. So we need to write down U3 minus U2 upon its length, that is L2, minus again E2, alpha 2 and delta T. E2, alpha 2 and delta T. Similarly, we will calculate stress induced in element number 3. Stress induced in element number 3 as E3. Now element number 3, it is between 3 and 4. So we need to write down U4 minus U3 upon L3 minus again E3 alpha 3 and delta T. E3 alpha 3 and delta T. Okay. So we are supposed to do these calculations. Okay. So I ask you, or I'll just, okay. So within 5 minutes I will finish. Okay. So you just put the value of E of element number 1. That is 210. U2 is 0.0311 minus U1 is 0 upon length of element number 1, it's 100 minus E is again 210 into alpha is 12 into 10 raised to power minus 6 into delta T is 20 degrees Celsius. Okay. So all of you just do this calculation. Meanwhile, I will write down these values. Okay. Now go for this E2. Value of E2 is 100. Value of E2 is 100 into U3. U3 is 0.0086 minus U2 is 0.0311 upon L2, length of element number 2, it's 80 minus E2 is 100 into alpha 2, it's 20 into 10 raised to power minus 6 into delta T is 20. Okay, so just calculate this value. Similarly, I will put these values here. E3, value of E3 is 75, okay, into U4. U4 is 0 minus U3 is 0.0086 upon its length is 60. Length is 60 minus E3 is 75 into alpha 3 is 24 into 10 raised to power minus 6 into delta T is 20. So just let me know, all of you, immediately let me know the values, what you got.
लेक्चर का लिंक आ गया सर.
For first one, what is the value? Just let me know the values, then we'll stop the session.
0.0149.
For first one, what is the value?
0.0149.
0, it is plus or minus?
Plus.
Plus. Let's do it. For first one, I will do it immediately. Okay. So let me do that. 210 multiplied by inside 0.0311 divided by 100 This is to be multiplied, or this we need to minus some value, minus 210 into 12 into 10 raised to power minus 6 into 20, right? So what we will get? We are getting this as 0.01491, and this value will be in gigapascal. Right? So similar, we need to do it for element number 2. Just do that. 100. So when we'll do that for element number 2, okay, all of you just do that and just let me know the answer. Okay, so for second one, we are getting this value. I will just write down that value directly. For second one, can you guess what is the value? 0.068 gigapascal. Okay?
minus
Minus 0.0681. And for third one, Third one, just check it. All of you just do the calculation. I'm getting again minus value, minus 0.0467 gigapascal. Okay, so is that okay, all of you? All of you, is that okay? So if there is any doubt, you just let me know. Otherwise, you can move to the next lecture.